Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Each episode, you'll dive into conversations with top entrepreneurs, visionaries, and business leaders, unlocking the secrets to building profitable relationships that drive growth and success. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, presented by LeDuc Entertainment. Today, we are joined by Christina McKinnon, who is the founder and managing attorney of McKinnon Legal. Christina, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Adrian. I'm glad to be here.
Can we start off? Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and a little bit about McKinnon Legal?
Well, hey, I am a Miami native, South Florida girl who, had big dreams and I'm making them happen. So I have a firm that is here in South Florida, just west of Fort Lauderdale, north of Miami. And this is our 20th year in business. Actually, we celebrated our 20th anniversary in October of last year, October 24. We focus primarily on marital and family law, but we also do personal injury. Actually, I started as a personal injury lawyer doing negligent security, slip and falls, and also vehicle negligence. And the family law kept coming and it kept coming in abundance. And, now I'm known primarily as a family lawyer, but I kept the personal injury there. It is certainly a great revenue source, and we want to help as many people as possible, whether it is recovering and being compensated adequately for their injuries or moving on with their lives and, getting to their happy place again.
I mean, congrats on 20-year anniversary. That is awesome.
I still feel 25 though.
I mean, you're not 25?
No, I'll be 50.
Don't tell nobody. Well, can you tell me a little bit about the people that you are helping with the firm? When people come to McKinnon Legal, what are some of the pain points and problems that they're experiencing that you're helping them solve?
Yeah, I mean, we have been a long time in the business and this, legal sphere. So more of our clients are more high end, high net worth, high asset cases. So we are getting a lot of prenuptial agreements, lots of postnuptial agreements. People want to protect what they already have before they go into this long-term commitment that you're really not sure if it's going to last forever in these days, in these times. I would say the bulk of the cases, whether they are high-end or high net worth cases, they have a whole lot of conflict with child custody issues. Now we call it time sharing and developing a parenting plan, but the general public knows it as custody. So everybody has kids, whether they are married or unmarried. That is the distinction between a divorce case with kids or a paternity action, kids with unmarried parents. And that probably takes up the bulk of our time at McKinnon Legal. Right now, we have about 3 attorneys and a host of paralegals and legal assistants, billing clerks, and client engagement specialists that help and serve our clients and serve our community. The other pain points are possibly, support issues, certainly for the children. But when there's disparate income between the parties, the other party may need a level of support to transition to being single after being married for so long. So spousal support, although it's, on its downward trajectory because, hey, us as women, we want to be equal. We want to be treated equal. Guess what? Alimony will be a thing of the past pretty soon. And they've made it a little bit more difficult to get in the last 2 legislative cycles here in Florida. So it is harder to get if you are an accomplished woman, if you are a person with assets, et cetera. What you will get out of the divorce in terms of equitable distribution of the assets and debts will count towards your ability to support yourself. But it is a prevailing issue that I deal with often.
And you informed me, you informed me just before the show. I feel like a cretin. I feel like a monster. You informed me just before the show that it is Women's Month. Is that correct?
Yes, International Women's Month. Everybody has a month now, right? You have Hispanic Heritage Month, you have Black History Month, you have, Filipino and Asian Pacific Islander Month. This is Women's History Month. And, I am thankful that I've had titans that came before me that I can stand on their shoulders and do the things that I do and go hard for, the legal community and, be there for a way that my mother and grandmother may not have been able to be there for, their kids. So it is certainly a great time to be a woman.
That's amazing. Can you tell me a little bit about what inspired you to specialize in family law and personal injury litigation?
You know what? I've always been a firecracker. That's Christina, So I knew I wanted to be a lawyer from a very young age, actually, and I really didn't know what area of practice I wanted to engage in until I got to my last year, my third year in law school, and I took a family law litigation skills course. So total elective. And I loved it. It was taught by a general magistrate, an actual general magistrate in the courts who took us to the courthouse and we did mock cases before the other general magistrates. And they just ripped us to shreds, but it was the best training. So it was the best training on how an actual case would go. So I knew I wanted to be a litigator at that point. Before, I was probably more geared towards something that was transactional, maybe wills, trusts, and estates, maybe business law or something like that. But, hey, being that fighter, I knew at that point I wanted to be a litigator. I got bitten by the personal injury bug and, wanted to help as many people as I could, get the adequate compensation that they needed and put them back to whole. You're never really whole after you've been injured catastrophically, but get them back to whole. But then came those, personal injury cases, and they just kept flooding my office. The family law cases, and they kept flooding my office. So I got back into family law, and here I am today, 20 years later, after starting the practice. And I started, I want to say about a year, maybe a year and a half after becoming a lawyer. So I started really young. I am that person that I'm going to bet on myself and bet on the tools that I've been given and make sure that I give back to the community. One of the things that propelled me forward is even when I was, just that solo practitioner, just starting my firm, I committed to giving in ways where I was not compensated for. So whether it was pro bono work or volunteer time or donating, money to causes, that also generates a residual. So people remember what you do for them. They remember how you treat them. And that certainly comes back to the firm with referrals, with new business, et cetera. And we've just been growing nonstop.
Well, and just in that, I heard you describe yourself as a firecracker and a fighter, but you have developed this reputation as being a fierce advocate for your clients. Can you tell me a little bit about what it means to be a fierce advocate for your clients and how you develop that reputation?
Okay. Well, I'd like to say a zealous advocate for my clients.
There you go. That's probably a better term.
Not necessarily fierce, but hey, I'm very passionate about what I do. Now at 50, certainly I've toned it down a little bit. But as a young lawyer, you go straight out the gate and you want to win, 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 and that's all you think about doing. So with time comes maturity and wisdom and all of those good things. But yeah, I have a heart for people. I have a heart for my clients, and I want them to feel like they're being highly advocated for. So it's nothing worse than a client that feels like, oh, this person is just going through the motions. This person, I'm just a number to them, another client for them. Right. And this is what I look for in our associate attorneys that are at McKinnon Legal as well. So, that zealous advocate, not fierce, but zealous advocate for clientele, I wear that as a badge of honor, actually.
Yeah. Well, and you deal with a lot of high conflict cases. And when you deal with these sort of high conflict cases, I'm sure emotions are running high. How do you sort of get people through that? And what strategies do you utilize to ensure great outcomes for your clients?
It depends. It depends on who I'm talking to. If I'm talking to my client and it's a preparation call for an upcoming hearing, or there is something that they need done or a motion they need filed, first I listen. I let them vent. let them, fly off the handle, do what they need to do, cry, talk about their intent towards the other side. And then I say, thank you for letting me know. And then here's my strategy. This is how we're going to take care of that. And it just, all people just want to be heard. Right.
Right.
So that's how that is. If I'm dealing with opposing counsel and we're met with all of that emotion, then, professionally, I have a duty to for professionalism per the Florida Bar rules of governing its attorneys. However, we certainly make sure that we let them know that that is not going to be tolerated. I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm not going to be, what they call good old boy. I don't know if you know that term,
Right,
but
yeah.
if I'm in another jurisdiction, sometimes, they think I don't know that judge, or I haven't the experience that an older attorney may have. But let me tell you, I'm going to meet the energy, the competence, and the educational level that you have. So, nobody is intimidating us. No one is gonna outwork us or outprepare us. So, it is what it is. And family law can be very emotional. They say, and this is just a rumor, I can't confirm or deny, but they say that the lawyers in family court are probably the worst, and that they are, so you can meet the energy, but you can do it in a professional way.
Right. What are some of the common misconceptions that people have about divorce and custody battles? I don't know if battles is an appropriate term. I used fierce. That might not be, but
Listen, yeah, I mean, sometimes it can be a battle. I mean, sometimes it can be very conciliatory. So, the way we pursue a case up to mediation is different than after mediation. After mediation, sort of the proverbial gloves come off, and we're prepared for battle, if you will, going forward, because it's going to trial. Certainly, I always let the clients know that it's better if you resolve your case. The judge does not know you. The judge doesn't know your family situation until, hey, I persuade them or tell them the facts of the case and persuade them to follow this particular statute or consider these particular factors in your favor. But it's better if you resolve it and both of you all have some skin in the game or have your hands in the resolution, and then you'll be more happy with that.
Right.
An objective judge is going to slice it down the middle, do what's fair and equitable, but you may not get everything you want. They may not get everything you want, and both parties will be disappointed. So I guess the misconception is that the majority of cases are a battle, and they are not. Right. So even if we are on the courthouse steps, well, most things are on Zoom right now, but even eve of trial, a case can still settle.
Right. And can you tell us a little bit about, I mean, we talked about some of the misconceptions. What are some of the mistakes that you see your clients making when it comes? I mean, are there common mistakes that you see people make when it comes to this sort of thing?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I see people that discuss the litigation with minor children. It's very damaging. I see people that alienate children from the other parent. So, you may be upset with that parent, but that kid is going through an emotional and sometimes psychological issue where the children need intensive therapy. So if there is alienation going on, what they don't understand is not about the custody battle. This is about your child's now perception of themselves, because if you're saying that about my parent, the other parent, then that person's a part of me too. All right. So this is something that parents are blinded by. They're blinded by their rage sometimes. And it's just very difficult to navigate that. So when I talk about those high conflict cases, those are the ones where you got to have a steel heart and, put your emotions aside and compartmentalize all the, the mushiness you feel or the sadness you feel, and do your job and do what's in the best interest of that child. And then also have some clear and difficult conversations with the respective clients, because you have to manage expectations sometimes.
And I'd like to dive a little deeper into that. I mean, because you mentioned these, I mean, obviously in these sort of cases, there's all these emotions that are coming along with it. How do you balance the sort of emotional side of it and the legal side of it for your clients?
Well, I mean, as a professional, I'm not emotional about the cases, so
Right.
they aren't my family, they aren't my kids. So this is my profession. This is what I do.
Right.
And, as a competent lawyer, I'm charged to represent them clear of any,
Right.
bias or any type of emotion or anything like that. So I think I do a pretty good job of compartmentalizing, those types of things. Early on in my career, when I was doing more personal injury, there was sort of like I guess you would call it a family dependency case, but we had to sue the state of Florida Department of Children and Families, where there was a negligent placement of a child. The child was assaulted,
Oh,
sexually when they placed the child. So, I mean, those types of things are very emotional. Though, and, I was a young lawyer as well, so but that taught me that this child needed me, her family needed me, and I needed to do my job and not get caught up in the emotion of it.
I mean, I mean, that's really incredible that you talk about, compartmentalizing
Mhm.
things. I mean, is it difficult to, I mean, take yourself out of that and say, at the end of the day, I was at work, this is work over here, now I'm at home, this is my, life over here. Is it difficult to compartmentalize like that? I mean, I think that's got to be tough, right?
It's an acquired skill, right?
Right.
So, 22 years practicing, 20 years in business, it's something I had to develop over time. And certainly as a younger lawyer, I said it's probably something that I had to make a conscious effort to do. Now it is not. Now, I have a family of my own, so I have other obligations, and I have my mommy hat and I have my lawyer hat and I have my
Right.
wife hat, so and they don't want to be burdened or inundated with, oh, mommy's, in tatters because
Well,
whatever.
when clients come to McKinnon Legal, is it something when you are approaching a case or when you're approaching a client, is it a kind of a one size fits all approach, or is it very custom tailored to the individual client that you're working with?
Oh no, it is always tailored to that particular client. No case is the same. The
Mm,
issues may be the same, but the facts are always different. So I certainly make sure that we tailor every strategy of every client that has retained our office to that particular person. And I think that personalized touch is, why we are, I've had clients that say, you know what? I have no family. Like, all of my friends sided with my ex-spouse and I have no family here. So you guys are my family. So, we can't give him a cookie cutter type of
right.
strategy or relationship with him. So, and I feel like the greatest reward is after a case is over and the client says, Miss McKinnon, I want to take you out for a drink. I'm like, I can't do that, but thank you. I appreciate the sentiment.
I was gonna say, would be appropriate for Mardi Gras Day, right? Can you tell me a little bit about, because I'm curious about it. Can you tell me a little bit? I mean, every case is custom tailored.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about sort of what that discovery phase looks like? I mean, because you have to find out all of these facts about the individual and their certain needs, what's going on with them in this case. What does that discovery phase sort of look like?
Well, it depends, right? So it depends on, if we're just going to do standard discovery requests or have to make them a little more specific because, hey, the spouse owns 3 businesses. So, there
Right,
may be more addendums that I need to add on and custom tailor them to the types of businesses or investments. Right now, there are, new issues, very novel issues in the crypto or Bitcoin,
right,
so now I got to request this stuff and learn about it and make sure that we're getting the right documentation. We had 2 cases in our office that we just settled not too long ago where there were military benefits that needed to be produced. And the military was like, I'm not responding to your request for production or your subpoenas. We needed a court order from a judge. And I
Wow.
was like, okay. So we got a court order from the judge. Well, family law is state court. And then we gave them the court order that they had to produce all of these things. And they said, no, only federal court we respond to. So, that's a whole new realm, of how do we compel these people to comply? But of course, we just got it from opposing counsel. He made his client comply. So, it's really tailored to what the issues are in the case and what the assets are or benefits are that we need to procure. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I'm curious about that. I mean, can we dive a little deeper? What is your approach to asset protection for your clients?
Well, I would refer that to an asset protection lawyer, certainly.
Right.
So
Right.
whatever they are getting in the equitable distribution during the divorce, because sometimes, a stay-at-home mom or a kept wife who never worked or hadn't worked during the marriage will come out with a whole lot of assets in the equitable distribution or alimony or lump sum alimony in some cases. And, I'd have to make sure that that stuff is protected, that it can last the long term, but for her going back into the workforce, of course. So yes, I have, certain referrals that I'd send those people to.
And, we've talked a little bit about your practice. I'd like to talk a little bit about you. You have earned several accolades for your work. Would you care to speak about that?
Oh my goodness, I don't like talking about me, so to speak, but I started out right out the box, pretty much a year and a half out of, or after getting my license, starting my business, and I got involved in everything. I got involved with the bar associations, with the women's groups, with community groups. After I had my daughter, I got involved with the PTA. So, I've been recognized by the Junior League of Miami as a woman who makes a difference.
Wow.
I was the chair of the Family Court Committee for Miami-Dade Bar Association. I was the president of a voluntary bar association also in Miami-Dade County. And I was on the Florida Bar Board of Governors for its young lawyer section when I was a young lawyer. So since I moved to Broward County and got married and had a kid, I got back involved in the legal community, and I sat as the chair of the Judicial Nominating Commission for Broward County. So, in addition to that, there have been a string of awards as well that I've gotten in terms of, growing the practice once I decided to grow my practice and no longer be a solo practitioner. And, I just think that's par for the course. Anybody can do it. I'm not in competition with anyone else but myself. Just want to do better each year and get to a certain goal that I set for myself. But like I said, I don't like talking about myself, but yeah, well, we've done a lot.
I mean, I think you deserve to talk about yourself after all that. Come on.
What are you talking about? Go ahead, ask your questions.
You mentor young attorneys as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. We've had a great deal of young lawyers that we had in our office. The bulk of our lawyers have more than a decade of experience that work at McKinnon Legal. However, every so often I will bring in a young lawyer so that we can sort of groom them into a well-accomplished and competent, lawyer at McKinnon Legal. I want to say 2 of our paralegals in the past have now become lawyers, and they did so while working at McKinnon Legal. And I have 3 paralegals right now in the office who are going to law school. So yes, absolutely. We inspire a new generation of lawyers.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to, say, either someone thinking about a legal career or somebody that's just getting ready to hang their shingle, right? Like, what advice would you give to young lawyers looking to get into this field?
To someone who is looking to become a lawyer, I would say, read everything you can about history, about our systems, about the American system, about, world legal systems. Really understand, what you're getting into or what you want to get into. For the young lawyer who wants to hang their own shingle, I'd say, hey, you're the opportunity. You don't have to look for an opportunity. It's you, right? So believe in yourself, bet on yourself, get the consulting, get the mentorship that you need, and go do the damn thing, right? So you are the opportunity. I mean, I told my younger self that, and no one would ever, put a doubt in my mind that I wouldn't be where I am today or where I'm going to be, maybe in 2 or 3 years. So it's very important to learn to do things the right way. We are trained as lawyers, but we're not necessarily trained as business people. So get the business training that you need in terms of how to organize your company, get the right people in there, set up the KPIs, know your revenue streams of what you need to bring in every quarter, what it takes to bring that in terms of billable hours, how many people it'll take to get to those billable hours so that you have predictable income or revenue. And then you'll be meeting those annual goals and you'll be crushing it. But keep in mind, it's not about competition. It never is. I never compare myself to anybody else. And I implore people not to do that. It's very negative. I think that's a very negative thought process. So, just keep in mind that you are the opportunity. Keep it positive. Keep it about yourself and what you can bring to the world. You're always wanting to bring more value into the world. And money is just directly correlated to that. So the more money you make is because you're bringing much more value into the world and to other people.
You just casually dropped one of the most motivating quotes I think I have ever heard. You are the opportunity. And you just I just dropped that line. Like, what? It is like one of the most motivating things I have ever heard. You are the opportunity. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're on the, bit of advice, I'd love to, keep going down that road a little bit. What advice would you have for somebody that, maybe is looking to pursue legal action in, say, a personal injury case?
I say if you're truly injured, all right, if you are truly injured, because there are a lot of fraudsters out there, right? And early on in my career, I think everybody wanted to sue everybody. And there's some people that want to live off lawsuits. That is not the route to go, right? So if you are truly injured, then yes, seek the compensation that you are entitled to and go through the long haul. I have had clients that required repeated surgeries. So those were the cases that, we needed to go big and go hard. Inevitably they did settle because they're not going to deny liability when it's so clear, when causation was so clear. The insurance company certainly did settle it, but we did have to pursue the lawsuit. So in Florida, they give a statute of limitations, which allows you to settle the case pre-suit before you're required, and you're absolutely barred from suing them at a certain point. So we went through the entire pre-suit process. We sued them. And they settled ultimately, right after we sued them because they didn't want the embarrassment. Causation was clear. Their negligence was clear. And therefore, we got that client. But it's a long, drawn out process. I don't wish that on anybody to be or to have even a partial permanent injury to your body, to, your temple. I don't wish that on anybody. So if you are truly injured, then yes, get the compensation that you're entitled to. But this is not for the faint of heart. It requires patience. It is a long, drawn out, long suffering process. And you're going to be in a whole lot of pain until you get that result. So if you are prepared to go the long haul in those cases, then certainly do it. Go ahead and do it. Always get a lawyer, certainly, to do so. Don't settle with your insurance company. They will lowball you. They, lowball the attorneys. And we know that. That's why we play the long game.
Can you share with us maybe a story? You said 2 decades of doing this. Can you share with us, when you think back over those 2 decades, can you share with us a story that comes to mind when you think back? Is there one that comes to mind of someone, either, a client, a business, a person, whoever, that you really saw a transformation, a positive transformation in as a result of your help and guidance?
A positive transformation as a result of our help and guidance. We resolved a case. Actually, we tried it last year, about a year ago. So it was in April of 24. But the case had gone on for about 2 years. This was a relocation case. It actually started off as a domestic violence case. Dad basically stole the child from the mom. There was no paternity action that was in the case, so nothing establishing paternity. He didn't have a parenting plan or anything like that. They were just co-parenting without any, type of orders in place. But he stole the child from the mom, brought the child across the state, and when she tried to get the child back, he filed domestic violence actions against her, and his wife did as well. And they alleged, that she tried to run them over with a car. They alleged she tried to kill their dog. They alleged all of these things, right? So we had to try each and every action, and they were all dismissed. By the time they were dismissed, and we had to litigate all those, because one of the things domestic violence judges will do, or any judge will do, is they'll let you get your allegations out. They'll let you get all of your facts out. They'll let you try your case so that you don't have a cause to appeal it, later. So if all the facts aren't on the record, then, you may have an appeal because you didn't have a fair trial. You didn't have due process. So it took a while to try all three of those DV actions, or domestic violence actions. In the interim, our relocation was put on hold until we could, get those things dismissed, because they want to make sure that people are safe. They want to make sure that these are bogus and false allegations before they return a child to someone who is potentially dangerous, which this mother was not. When we finally get to trial, we get the relocation granted, and the child returns back to Lee County, which is, Lehigh Acres or Fort Pierce, that area, not Fort Pierce, I'm sorry, Lehigh Acres in the west coast of Florida. The mother was just a different person. She was despondent at first. She was totally, transformed in terms of, her appreciation. She thought she'd never get her daughter back because, he was the biological father, and all of the lies that were told about her. So, she's a good friend of mine today, although the case is over. I just spoke with her yesterday. They send me things on my birthday. So, that is probably one of the most rewarding cases, but I would say the biggest transformation in that, and any type of case is with that case.
Christina, this has been an awesome, super interesting conversation. If anybody out there listening could use your help, could use the help of McKinnon Legal, where can the people find you?
Sure. They can find us online at McKinnon-legal.com. That's McKinnon-legal.com, or call us at 877-920-1614. We're also on Instagram at McKinnon_legal. That's Instagram.
Christina, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been awesome.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you very much for having me here. Happy International Women's Month to your wife, your sister, your daughter, and celebrate and love on the women in your life.
Absolutely. I love that outro. That's amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been Partnerships for Profit, presented by LeDuc Entertainment. Christina, thank you so much again.
All right. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Happy Mardi Gras.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.